Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to this week's webinar. I'm Emily. I'm an Asian product manager here at Conduit. And today we're going to be going over something super special, which is voice AI or deploying phone agents. So if you have been a longtime user of Conduit but haven't used voice agents before, or you're a new user and weren't aware that we have phone agents, this is the webinar for you. We're going to go over a lot of different topics today. So let me just go and share my screen, and then we can get started and actually show you how to deploy these phone agents. So let me just open platform. But now we are in Conduit. Yeah, now we are in Conduit. So here are where you can find voice agents. So if you are in your inbox, you would go to Agent Hub, Voice Agents, and here are where your voice agents live. So you can have a variety of different voice agents. You can have agents for guest support, maintenance. If you have tours, you can book tours as well, or any upsells. All of these voice agents are configurable here within voice agents. But first, we're going to take a step back and actually go into how to actually set this up. So to set this up, you're going to go into settings and phone. And here's where you can set up anything for phone. So your screen might not look like mine since I have a phone number already set up. Maybe it has a form that says request report a phone number. Maybe it has one agent set up, or maybe you don't have any phone numbers here. I'll show you how to, everything that I'm showing today is going to go over all those use cases and how to actually set up a phone for voice AI and a regular phone number that your team can answer within Conduit. So we'll go over the first use case first, which is having a phone within Conduit that is answerable by a human. So let's say you have a team member and they're always on Conduit and you have a phone already. You can actually port over a phone number that already exists into Conduit, or you can create a new one. So to get a phone number, you would click this request A2P. This is available for whatever view that you have. You click request A2P, and you're going to get this Conduit phone line registration form. This is going to send a form to one of my colleagues, and you'll be able to get a phone number to either port over a phone number or get a completely new one. So just as an example, you can put your information here, verify that you're not a robot. And here's where you're going to actually put in your company's information. And what I want to emphasize here is, would you like to port over a phone number from your current VoIP system? So if you use OpenPhone, Allaware, any of these phone systems, you can click yes, which will port over that existing phone from OpenPhone or whatever phone number that you have. Or if you click no, this is going to provision you a completely new phone number. And you can even put in your desired area code here. If you have an international number, it might be a different process, but you can just reach out to our support team and they'll be able to help you. But in general, for most use cases, if you're filling out, or if you want to connect a phone, you would fill out this phone number form to port over a phone number or get a new one. The process takes around 2 weeks to actually add that phone number into Conduit, which you can see that I've done here. But once we've had this unlocks a whole bunch of different possibilities in terms of call forwarding or having an AI phone number. So if you want to get an AI phone number, it'll be the second button called Get Phone Number. So you have 3 different options for getting an AI phone number. The first one is getting a US number. So here you can click Get a US number and put in an area code. And this is going to actually provision you a new AI phone number. Whenever someone calls this phone number, it's going to be answered by an AI. The next is if you're international, we'll help you provision an international AI phone number. This one takes a little bit longer because you have to go through more like paperwork, but you can also request an international phone number here. And the third is just to port over an existing phone number. And this is just the same form, just moving that current number from whatever system you're currently using into Conduit. So once you have that set up and you have a phone number within Conduit, here is where it'll show up. It'll have like that phone number. You can add a fallback, and also a name. So for your alias, it can just be whatever you want to name it. I like to name my agents Alex, but you can name this main support line. A fallback number is what happens when someone calls this human phone number. What number should it fall back to if maybe there is too many like calls, maybe someone's already calling this, you need an overflow number, you can add that here. And then we also have call forwarding. So call forwarding is maybe you want to forward this phone call. Maybe you have this phone number broadcasted on like all your websites, all your pamphlets, but you actually want to have an AI always pick up this phone number. What you can do is just add this AI phone number here and whatever numbers here, whenever someone calls this phone number, it'll go to this number. So just to ground this in an example, I'm going to go to my voice agent and get this AI phone number. And I want to go back to settings and phone, and I add this phone number here. Whenever anyone calls this phone number, which is like my VoIP number, it's going to be then forwarded to this AI phone number. Another thing that we can customize is the start of call announcement. So this is whenever someone picks up the phone, what is the first thing they're going to hear? So it can be this call may be recorded for quality and training purposes if you want to let them know that the call is being recorded. It can be, hi, you are speaking to support for Emily's properties, or anything that you want to announce at the start of a call. So this is how to set up an actual phone number and how to connect a VoiceAI number. Okay. Now we'll actually go into Agent Hub agents, voice agents, and I'm going to show you how to actually configure and create these voice agents. So I created one here already, but we can just create a new one. So to create a new one, you'll click Create Voice Agent and click Buy a US number. You can put any area code, so I'll do like 209. And these are all the available phone numbers that you can claim. So any phone number that you want to claim, you would just click claim. And this will claim a phone number to be your dedicated AI customer service agent. So whenever someone calls this phone number, it's going to be an AI customer service agent that's going to pick up. And then going back to the forwarding that we set up previously. So going through this forwarding, if anyone calls this phone number, it would forward here, which this number is picked up by an AI. Going back to the voice agents, we'll go and actually configure this new voice agent. So to start, we always want to give our agent a name because you won't be able to save it unless you give it a name. So I usually like to name mine Alex or Sam, just a gender neutral name so that I can use like any of the AI voices that we have available. And here's your alias. Your aliases are optional, but this can be whatever agent or whatever you want to use as your, like what do you want to use this agent for? So using this for guest support, using this for booking tours, or using this to answer questions. So any alias that you want, you can add there. I'm not going to add one. And we have a bunch of different ways to actually write out these conversations. So we have single prompt, which is what we recommend. And this is just writing out exactly what you want this agent to say or how you want them to follow these procedures. Versus a conversational flow. A conversational flow is more like if you've worked with workflows before, it's it has a start, it has this branch, and then continuing from there. I usually don't use the conversational flow and I stick with single prompt just because it's easier to troubleshoot if something goes wrong, and it's also easier to change. We're going to move down to the welcome message. So we have static and dynamic. So static is whatever I type in here, the AI is going to say. So similar to like the announcement that we had previously. But if I write, hi, I'm Alex from this property. Can I assist you? Then whenever anyone calls this phone number, the first welcome message or the first thing that they're going to hear is this. Versus if it was dynamic, the AI is just going to automatically generate a personalized greeting. So it'll be a different greeting for any person that calls. And it'll use these instructions to generate this dynamic greeting. So you can use static or dynamic, either one. They're basically the same. It just depends on if you want control over the first thing the AI says versus just letting it generate automatically. I'm actually going to go into my guest support agent to go over the instructions. So if this is your first time actually making a voice AI agent, these instructions will be automatically populated for your AI agent. So here are how we recommend, or here's how we recommend how you should write these instructions for your voice AI. So first, you want to give your AI some context on like what it's actually supposed to do. So you are an AI agent that answers incoming calls from guests staying at our short-term rentals. Your goal is to solve their issue on the spot using the knowledge base for current guests or get available listings for inquiring guests. So you just want to give the AI as much context as possible so that it's able to handle all the use cases that your guests or maybe your employees would have. If you've seen style for chat agents, it's a lot similar. So style guardrails are here. And then we have our conversational flows, which is where it differs from our existing chat agents. For conversational flows, you really want to outline what is the procedures or what usually happens when someone picks up the phone. So if it's troubleshooting, here are the steps that we want to follow. So first, we want to greet the guests and thank them for calling. Then we want to confirm their reservation number or the property, and then ask them a clear questions. So what's going on? Like, how can we help you? And here we can agents have access to the knowledge base. Similar to chat agents, if something is in global knowledge, the AI will be able to actually pull that piece of information and answer it. So maybe you have a guest that calls and they say, hey, I want to know if the pool is open. Like, what are the hours for the pool? Instead of having someone go in and having to pick up the phone, answer that question, or even having to go into like your knowledge base and look that up, the AI can go into the knowledge base, find the piece of information, and then respond via the phone. So it can pull the matching article from the knowledge base and then walk them through using like plain language. And we also have the wrap up to make sure that everything is sorted before we end up the call. We also have like another conversational flow. So maybe you want to book a stay, maybe you want to use the AI to book a stay at the property. You can do that as well here. And then language considerations, these are similar to style. So you're going to generate speech from a conversation. So you should you should take that into consideration. So don't use special characters, don't use formatting, don't use bullet points because you are speaking, there aren't bullet points and there is no formatting. So whenever you deploy your voice AI agent, we recommend just going through the instructions and really detailing these instructions so that your AI will know exactly if someone makes a call, what should we do? Should we troubleshoot them? Should we escalate to a team member? What should we do when someone calls this phone number? Okay, I'll answer some questions now. Okay. The main blocker is the fact that calls can only be handled in browser. It would be great if our conduit number can be used to receive Google Voice verification codes. That is the best and easiest workaround to never miss a call if I'm not sitting at my workstation. If possible, could you please clarify this request A2P? Is this an additional requirement? Is our number not registered with our company details as a business phone number? So, okay, we'll answer both questions. So the first question is, if a call is sent to conduit, we actually are able to escalate that call to another phone number, which I'll go over later on in the webinar. And clarifying requests A2P. Going back to request A2P, if your phone number is already like registered, then and it's right here, you're fine. You don't need to request A2P. This is more if you need to port over an existing phone number or if you need to create a phone number. So hopefully that answers both of your questions, but we'll move on to the next tab for voice agents. So the next one is tools. So we give you some internal tools that are already available within Conduit. So the voice AI is able to search for listing availability, search for reservations, and then get directions. So if someone asks, hey, like, is your property available from this date to this date? The AI is actually able to go in and check to see if those dates are available. We can also search existing reservations. So if a guest makes a reservation like on your PMS system and they say, hey, like, what day am I supposed to check in? If their number is registered in their PMS or in your PMS, then we'll be able to actually search and then fetch those reservation details. Finally, we have get reservations, search internet, Google Place recommendations. If this is enabled, then your AI is going to be able to look at the internet and provide like the weather, or restaurant recommendations, any attractions, and also the distance. So someone is maybe like in an inquiry and they're asking, hey, how close is your property to Disneyland or Disney World? The AI will be able to, okay, like this property is around like 5 minutes from Disney World. It's around 2 miles away. And that could potentially be like what gets that prospect to book with your property, because now they know, okay, like this is really close to the attraction or it's really close to the thing that I want to do. If you're able to make custom tools, you can also make custom tools here within Conduit, but we find that our internal tools do a pretty good job at being able to capture like most use cases. The next is where we're actually going to be able to configure how our voice agents are responding. So we can support multi-language. This is going to respond in a different language depending on the caller's country code. So you can enable this. But we also have a lot of different voices that we use through Retail and 11 Labs. So this also goes back to why I use like a gender neutral name so that I can use like the male voices, the female voices, and any voice that I want is available here. We can also add custom voices as well. So if you have an audio file, you can be able to drag and drop an audio file here. And this is also through Retail, where you can give your AI like a custom voice. Maybe you have a owner who's like at the front desk, you can maybe drop in their voice here. So if someone picks up the phone, they can respond using like this audio voice. Additionally, we have different languages. So if you only want the AI to respond in English, you can enable it to only respond in English, or it can be multilingual, where if someone like a guest calls and they're speaking, let's say German, the AI will respond using German. Or maybe they switch like mid-conversation from German to Spanish, it can then switch to Spanish as well. So we support a lot of different languages, but also for multilingual, this will just adapt to whatever language that person is speaking. The next thing that is important is inbound routing and scheduling. So let's say you don't want to have your AI answer the phone all the time. Maybe you want the AI to only respond like during off hours. So the first one is calls will not be routed to this inbound agent, meaning if someone calls your regular phone number, it's not going to route to this AI agent. Only when they call the AI phone number is when they're going to get like that AI voice or that AI to pick up. The second is calls to the selected number will be routed to this inbound agent. So if you have like that phone number and you add that here, if this is enabled, then whenever someone calls your, let's say your phone number and it's during off hours, then it's going to be routed to this AI agent. So you can run this like 24/7, like right here, run 24/7, meaning the AI is always going to pick up the phone call, or you can even just set it to a specific schedule. So for this example, I have this schedule for my off hours. So from 5 to 10, from 5 to 10 on the weekdays, and then all of the weekends. If someone calls my phone number, it's going to automatically route to the AI agent. And here's just more configurations that you can control for like the background noise, voice controls, if you want to have it sound like a coffee shop, call center, convention hall, that's all configurable here. And same things for voice control. So how fast the AI speaks, this is all controllable here. How quickly the agent should pause. So it's like if your guest is talking and then the AI is talking, how quickly is it going to stop once the guest starts talking? Responsiveness is the delay between when the guest like maybe asks a question. So let's say the guest like, oh, like, do you allow dogs? This just controls the delay between when the guest asks that question and then when the AI starts responding. Temperature is just how consistent or varied the voice's delivery is. And then this is just the delay before it like actually starts speaking and says that initial welcome message. Tags, tags are also like related. So for tags, you can give the same tags that you have for your chat agents to your voice AI agents. I usually don't use these, but if you want to use them, they inherit the same tags as your inbox. So tags are organized by inbox type. I only have the guest inbox, but this will automatically detect if this tag is relevant. So maybe you have like a tag for like pets. If someone sends a text message about pets, that conversation tag is added. Same thing for voice. If someone mentions something about pets during their voice call, we're going to add that pet tag and it'll be available. The last one, which kind of touches in the question that we got earlier in the Q&A, is escalations. So what actually happens if the AI doesn't know how to respond or it needs an actual human? Maybe it asks a question that like you can't answer or like the AI can't answer, or it just isn't sure. We can enable an escalation setting, and we have two different types of escalation types. The first is static. So this is where we're going to actually transfer to a specific phone number. So similar to how in chat agents, if the AI isn't able to answer, it escalates to a human. Same thing for voice. If the AI isn't able to answer a question on the phone, it can transfer to a specific phone number, and you can provide like when it should escalate. So escalate whenever you don't have enough information in the knowledge base, it's emergency, they're talking about refunds, or when the call is not from a guest. So maybe it's from like a prospect or it's from like someone from sales. So whenever it meets any of these conditions, it's going to escalate to this specific phone number. Versus when it's dynamic, it has the same thing where when you need to escalate, we're going to escalate to when you don't have like this specific knowledge. But here you can actually escalate to specific people or like more people. So just looking at this example, when the escalation is about maintenance, escalate to this phone number. For billing, escalate to this number. For urgent matters, transfer here. And then always provide the context about the caller's inquiry before transferring. So let's say, just using the Q&A as an example, if you have a phone number within Conduit and someone like the AI picks up within Conduit, the AI picks up the phone number and they ask a question, you can forward it to your personal phone number, or you can forward it to maybe your on-call staff, or forward it to someone who would be able to pick up that call, depending on like the escalation reason. Then finally, we have warm transfer. So this is just giving the context before or while transferring the call. So in the example, the AI wasn't able to answer, and it's going to transfer a call to, let's say, this number. Since it wasn't able to answer, it can actually provide warm transfer instructions and tell like that person, okay, it will tell this person, hey, like you're going to be receiving this phone call. Here's the guest name. Here's a summary of their call. Here's just like what you should know before you take this call. So your live agents or your human agents, whenever they're picking up these escalated calls from your AI, they're not like left in the dark. They know exactly what's happening based on the summary that the AI provides. So you can just write that instruction here. So summarize. But warm transfers are really helpful because it allows your team to be informed whenever your AI is escalating to them. And it also just allows them to not have to have the guest repeat the problem that they just said to the AI. But this goes over our voice agents. You can make as many agents as you want, depending on the specific use case. So again, if you want to use an agent for guest support, maintenance, making tours, you can make those all here within Agent Hub. All of our agents have access to information that's in global knowledge. And if that specific contact that's calling the agent is, let's say, a guest or a hotel staff, they'll also have information that's related specifically to guests or specifically to hotel staffs. Voice agents aren't able to use procedures simply because procedures use a lot of computing power, and that would just take a long time, especially if you're using the phone. But anything that's answerable within knowledge will be answerable by a voice AI. Okay, well, that goes over setting up our voice agents. During next week's call, we're going to actually put these voice agents in action and actually build out some sales and upsell workflows using these voice agents. And we'll actually maybe be able to test them and show how they actually work and how we can deploy these for our guests. But thank you everyone for coming to this week's webinar. And now I'll just start answering questions. Okay, but what is the procedure for buying a phone number? So the procedure for buying a phone number is just going to settings, phone, request, or I'll open a new workspace. The process for actually buying a phone number is, if this is your first time buying a phone number, you'll just go into settings, phone, and you'll click request report a number, and you'll fill out this form. Whenever you fill out this form, it's going to send a notification to my colleague, and they're going to provision this phone number for you. If it's international, just reach out to support because it's a different process, but it's pretty simple. You just have to fill out this form. Is it possible to push notifications to WhatsApp? Do you guys have an update or notification WhatsApp template that we can have approved for first contact? If you want to use WhatsApp for these notifications, we recommend just making the WhatsApp template yourself within Conduit. So to do that, you would just go into settings, WhatsApp. I don't have a WhatsApp connected, but you can just connect your WhatsApp and then create a template, and you can do a notification. So we have one customer who they have a notification sent out whenever someone checks in and they send over their IDs. When that happens, they get a WhatsApp for with the guest names, their ID number, and just all the information. So yeah, it's possible to send notifications via WhatsApp. Is claiming a phone number free? If you're claiming an AI phone number, it is free. So that's just going back to settings, phone, get phone number. If you buy a US phone number, this is free. But if you want to get a A2P or port over an existing phone number, that is going to be $15 because that's just we pay to our phone provider. And that, yeah. So AI phone number is free versus A2P number, which is answerable by a human, that isn't free. But yeah. Okay, thank you everyone for attending, and hopefully next week we'll go over voice agents in workflows. But thank you. Bye.